Before I go on and talk more about why I think the conventional education system needs to be, I'll go ahead and say destroyed. You know, there will still be elements of conventional education that remain, conventional K-12, conventional university. Sometimes I estimate that that system serves 20 to 30% of the population well. Sometimes estimate it serves 2 to 3% of the population well. I know it serves some people well, and for people who are served well by that system, bless you, bless the teachers that helped you, bless all of that, wonderful. What I object to is the notion that most people are locked into that system in one way or another, and for those of us who are not well served by that system, we need to be released. And I want to emphasize my credentials in conventional terms because I'm going to be so critical of the conventional system. A lot of the people that love my passion for breaking the conventional system down are people that have been hurt by it and have escaped it. I've known students who have tried to commit suicide because of their experience in the conventional system. I know a young man who's a brilliant computer programmer who was drugged. His parents were asked by the school to put him on Ritalin and other drugs, more serious antidepressants. Once he dropped out of school as a high school student, he quit being on the drugs, he was happy, fulfilled, and he started a successful career. I know of people in their 30s and 40s and 50s who are incredibly capable, marvelous human beings who still feel stupid because they had a bad test score, they got a bad grade, they were given some signal from the system that they were inadequate human beings. And those scars last decades, generations even. So one of the purposes for talking about my background and my successes in the system is to show that one can indeed succeed in the system and yet still realize that it's a horrible system. Just as an aside, my theory for why, one of my theories, and we'll talk more about this later, for why the system has survived so long is that the people who function well in the system are the ones that go on and create the world that we live in. So if you happen to be somebody who gets straight A's and goes to university and gets good grades and goes off and becomes a certified doctor or teacher or lawyer or whatever, you believe the system works because the system works for you, and it did in fact work for you. And then you go on and say, we need to invest more resources in the system, we need to make sure other people succeed in the system, without ever thinking maybe that system worked for you, but it doesn't work for everyone. So, for those of you who succeed in the system and who believe in the system, heart and soul, I want to validate you, and at the same time, I want you to validate us and know that there are lots of us, 70 to 80% at least, who are not well served by this system. I believe that there are 7 billion geniuses on Earth, which of course is outrageous because most people think a genius is an Einstein or a Picasso or somebody who has a high IQ, whatever. For me, every human being has a unique genius. There's something that all of us can do better than anyone else can do. A lot of people are so stuck on the intellectual side of education, even the IQ side of education, that they don't realize that there are people. I'm a very capable student, and I'll go into that more later. I've been validated by Harvard, University of Chicago, Nobel laureates, and so forth. So I know I'm a capable student, but I've met people who can laugh better than I'll ever be able to laugh. They can help other people laugh better than I can. They can obviously dance better than I can. They can intuit the feelings of another better than I can. They can sing better than I can. They can touch another person on the hand better than I can. They can calm a dog down better than I can. They can fix a machine. This is all obvious. And all of us, if we stopped and think about it, would know that everyone around us has some uniqueness that we can't possibly match. And one of my goals as an educator is to release the genius in everyone and let them feel validated, let them try to figure out what is it about you, what is it that you can do better than anyone else on earth. And it's not an easy process. It could take you till the age of 50, 60, 70, maybe at 5 years old you already know it. At some point we discover that there's something that we do better, and it's a process of refinement. Maybe we're better at painting, but only this kind of painting. Maybe we're better at socializing, but only this kind of socializing. Maybe we're better at programming, but only this kind of programming. The world is full of niches. In biology, we're aware of the concept of niches, where there are millions and millions of species of bugs. Just bugs. The entomologist E.O. Wilson said that after a lifetime of studying bugs, he said that God has an inordinate love of bugs. What he means is that there's so many niches in which different beetles can thrive. And beetles are a strange way of thinking about it, but there's so many different ways in which human beings can be excellent. And one of my objections to conventional schooling is that it tells us by means of laws and teachers and authorities and credentials and diplomas and tests and curricula that there is only one or two or three ways of being excellent. Howard Gardner, Harvard University cognitive psychologist, is famous for discovering there are 7 kinds of intelligence or 9 kinds of intelligence. He adds 1 or 2 every few years. I think 7 kinds, 9 kinds, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. 7 billion. As if we ever get to 8 billion human beings, 8 billion. Everybody has an obligation to discover their own individual kind of genius and manifest it and become absolutely spectacular at whatever you're good at. And later we'll talk about how to connect your genius with a way to make a living so that you can be happy and fulfilled in the world and have a positive impact on the rest of humanity by practicing whatever you are superb at.